Hello everyone, this is Paul from the Pin Academy, and in this video, we're going to be talking about the best time frame to trade breakouts. Now, we have been receiving very many questions from you guys. What is the best time frame to trade breakouts? If a breakout happens in daily, which time frame do I use to spot the retest? How do I best spot the retest? What time frame is the best spot retest? If a breakout is in H1, which time frame do I use to spot the retest? I cannot see the retest. Do I wait for a retest, or when the candle just closes above with the momentum, I just enter the trade? Now, and very many other questions concerning breakouts. Now, we are going to be answering all that in this video. But before I do answer all those questions in the form of this video and the practical as we normally do it, as usual, we start from theory and then we go to the practical, we do it on the charts. But before we do that, I would just like to pose a question, and you can comment your answers below as you're watching the video. Then we shall be answering it together after looking at all the rules that we consider, so that after answering all the other questions, right? Now, this is the question here. So I do have a market that had an impulsive move down. We have a lack of progression, but after an impulse, we expect a retracement and a push down. And right now, it's not showing us any progression. So we do have a market giving us kind of a trend line here. Those use trend lines, and then also those use slabs, or what we call levels. We do have this area here. So now you're going to be able to tell me, or I want you to comment below in the comments what you do observe here, and you're going to tell me, is there a break and retest, or there is only a break, or there is nothing, or none of the above at all, right? So let's just play this and we see. So the market comes and reacts here. I want you guys to tell me if there is a break. When this breakout happened, was there a retest? Are we together? Then we shall be answering it together at the end, right? So let's just play. Right? So I would like you guys to tell me, was there a retest at this level here? Remember, the time frame is daily, and we're looking at CAD CHF, right? This is CAD CHF, and we're in the daily time frame. And we have this trend line here at this level, which we clearly see that the market did break down, right? So the question I'm posing is, was there a retest here? Are we together? So now let's go back to our video. Let's look at the rules. Let's look at the theory. Then we shall come back, and we're going to be using this as our practical. So for us to understand the best time frame to trade, or to understand what time frame we have to look out for retests, or if the time frame we're in is daily and the market has broken out, where do we spot from the retest? First and foremost, we need to understand what are we looking for? Where are we looking for the breakouts? Where are the breakouts supposed to happen from? One, we need to observe breakouts when we see a pattern. Some of you are pattern traders. Some of you use support and resistance, right? By pattern, I mean the flags, I mean the wedges, I mean the triangles, I mean all that, right? These are what we call patterns. Now, some of you are using that, and some of us are using a support and resistance, whereby we have a resistance and a support. It can be horizontal, it can be using also trend lines, because also trend lines that act as support and resistance. Are we together? And many others. Some of you are using moving averages, some of you are using Fibonacci retracement levels. Now, when the market is crossing these levels, for example, if it is crossing this is what we're calling a breakout. A breakout is comprised of a break and a retest, right? So this is just like part A of completing the breakout. A breakout to be complete, you need a break and then a retest. Now, there's always a question that is confusing traders, that the candle has closed above and with a strong momentum and has just continued up. Was there a retest? Now, in most cases, most of you think that there's no retest, but actually there's a retest, right? Just like the question I've posed to you there, I would like you guys to keep commenting down because I already showed it to you. So as you're watching this video, you keep giving me your views, whether you have, we have a retest or we don't have a retest. Then we shall come to it towards the end, right? So just stick around and you're going to see how we can really solve those issues. Very many traders have them, and it's one of the most of the questions that we have received from you guys, right? So breakouts, we look out for breakouts when we have patterns, we have support and resistance, and we have trend lines, and also others like fib, and also the moving averages, right? Because they're also they're giving us support and resistance levels, or we can also get patterns from them, right? So having looked at where we look out for breakouts, now you also have to understand the rules of breakouts. Because without understanding the rules, you won't always get it wrong. You're not going to be able to spot the clear breakout. You're not going to be able to spot out the retest, right? And the rest. So what are the rules of this breakout? One, you need a strong momentum. Are we together? This is where most of you just stop. Now, for example, if this is, let me just use this. If this is your, let's say this is your resistance, right? and the market breaks above. The market breaks above. Let me just change the color. Right? The market breaks above. Now, most of you, once you see a strong candle here, you're just going to rush and start putting in your orders. The market is going to either break back below, retest here, and you have a false breakout, and this means that you're trapped as a trader. Are you getting it? Or the market can alternatively do this. It can break above, then it comes and retests, makes a deep retest, even makes a false breakout back down, retests here, and then continues up. Again, you're trapped, right? All your stop losses are hit, and then you start panicking. When the market again comes back down here, you start taking sales. This is what most of you are going through, right? So that's just one. We need a strong break, right? We need this strong break. After a strong break, what do we want to see? We want to see a weak retest, right? Now, the question, this is where most people are getting confused, and this is where the question comes. The market has broken, but if I'm in H4, I'm not seeing a retest. It's just continuing. Usually there's a retest, but we don't see it. Why don't we see it? Because it is usually a weak retest, and for us to see it, I'm going to just show you in the next slide, and then we shall look at it practically using the example I showed you when we started, right? We need a weak retest. By weak retest, we are going to bring in the aspect of momentum. We've spoken about it in almost all the videos that we have done, right? Now, if this momentum was strong, now this momentum should be weak. By that, what do I mean? I mean that if there's one long candle, or there were 3 long candles, or 2 long candles that were breaking this level here. Now we need more than those numbers, more than the number of candles here. If there were 2 here, we need more than 2 retesting here. If there were 3 here, we need more than 3 retesting here. That's what we mean by a weak retest. It is trying to show you that the momentum coming down is weaker than the one going up. So after that, then we look for what we call change of trend. By change of trend, there are 2 aspects that you can use. You can use what we call a counter trend line, or you can use when the market is making lower lows here. Because this market going up, it's making a trend upwards, it's making higher highs and higher lows. Even this one, the market is creating a mini trend. The market is always moving in trends, right? So even if we have a general trend that is going up, when it is making retests, it's making a mini trend to make those retests. The market always moves in trends. That's why I keep telling people that the market trends every day. No matter the time frame you're in, the market is always trending. Whether it is retesting, it's trending. Whether it's moving in its general trend, in its general direction, it's trending, right? So we need the market to change from making lower lows to starting to make higher highs and higher lows, instead of making lower lows and lower highs. This is what we call change of trend. So these are the 3 rules of breakouts, whereby you need to spot. One, you need to spot this strong break. The second one, you need to spot a weak retest. I've just explained that. The third one, you need a change of trend. Now, after this was being in play, we're just stick around. We're going to look at all these things using the example that we post there. I hope you guys keep dropping your answers just in the comment section, right, as you're watching. Now, let's look at what next. Now, this is the answer to the question. Break and retest timeframes. If there's a break in daily, where am I looking for the retest from? Or should I wait for the retest? Should I wait for the retest? Should I just take the trade? This answers your question. One, I'm answering the question in form of examples. If you have a break in daily, for example, let me just mark it. If this is, let's say, your support level, right? If that is your support level and the market breaks through, are we together? In daily, you are not going to be able to observe this retest, right? Sometimes it will give you a retest with the same kind of, but it rarely happens to come and retest this level in the same time frame. Let's say if the breakout is in daily, it is hard for it to come and retest with, let's say, a buy candle, then the next candle drops. Most times what the price will do is it can either come and retest with a rejection, it will touch and then it rejects, then continues down. Now, most people will not take this as a retest. That is a retest. But how can you see the retest? You have to go to the next lower time frame, which is H4 and H1. Are we together? That's when you'll be able to see a proper retest. That's when you'll be able to see that weak trend that we have been talking about in the previous slide of the rules. One, you need a strong break. Then 2, you need a weak retest. Are we together? Now, for you to be able to see this weak retest, you cannot see it in the same time frame of the breakout, right? Another example is if the breakout is weekly, you will better observe it in daily and H4. Why? Because these are the next lower time frames, right? You'll be able to see a retest in the next lower time frames. If you're not seeing retest You cannot, sometimes it will give it to you, but it is rare, right? And remember, for you to take a trade, you need the change of trend. And for you to observe change of trend, you need to spot a trend. By not being able to spot these trends, you're going to always take early entries, late entries, you're going to be trapped by false breakouts. So to avoid that, you need to be able to follow this. These are just examples, but some of you use H4. If the breakout is in H4, meaning you're spotting the retest in H1 and maybe minute 30, even less. If the breakout is in H1, you're spotting it in minute 30 and minute 15. If it is minute 30 like that, you're spotting it in the next lower time frames, right? The immediate lower time frames. That's when you'll be able to spot these trends. You'll spot weak trends properly in the next lower time frames. Are we together? So make sure you implement this in case you've not been spotting your entries. Avoid this thing of saying that, let me just show you what most of you normally do. Most of you normally do this. If this, let's say this is a break, let's say if there's a break upwards here. Now, when you guys just want to see a strong long candle, once it closes, you just start taking orders. Avoid that. The market is always going to give you false breakouts, and then you get trapped. Or it will first trigger all your stop losses, comes retest here with a deeper mini trend. So you guys, they trigger all your stop losses, or you start panicking and saying that the market is not doing well, the market is not moving well today, or they're manipulating. Some of you are like even blaming brokers. The broker is manipulating me. The market makers are cheating us. They're scamming us. No, they're not doing any of the above. You're just not following the rules, right? So follow the above things that I've mentioned to you, and you'll be able to avoid all this. We're together. So let's look at this NB that I've come up with here. Always a retest will clearly be spotted on the next lower time frames to that of the break, the break, where the break happened. If the break happened, let's say in monthly, look for the retest in weekly. You'll spot it clearly weekly and daily. If a breakout happened, let's say in minute 15, look for the week trend, the week retest in the lower time frame, minute 5, minute 1, right? If it happened in minute 1, some of you even do analysis minute 1, which I really don't recommend. I don't advise that, right? Of course, your decisions are independent, but usually, if I'm having a discussion with someone, I wouldn't recommend you to do anything in minute time frames, right? So this is the theory part of the break and retest timeframes. Where can you spot the retest from? A very big question that I've been getting almost on a daily basis. I hope this will be able to help you. Now, this is all theory. Let's go back to the question that we started with. Okay, so we are back to our card CHF. Remember, we're looking at card CHF here, and then we're looking at this daily time frame. Now, we're going to just apply all the rules. We're going to apply all the rules that we talked about that side, then we put it here, right? Or we put them here, sorry. So we had this trend line, those with trend lines, it being broken, this is a counter trend line being broken. We have the level being broken. Now the issue is here, this breakout. Did we have a retest? Or here, did we have a retest? Let's start with this trend line. So let's just slightly go back and we start from here. If really we had a retest to these levels here, or I'm just telling you stories. Remember, trading is practical, guys. No matter what someone tells you, we are going to always check. So let's just play it and we see, right? Let's just play it and we observe if really we do have a break, right? And the retest. So the market broke below here. Now let's try to go and check in the lower time frame if really the market gave us a retest. So let's check in H4, right? Now when you come to H4, what do you observe? When the market broke, in daily, you're just seeing that the market has a tail touching here or a rejection touching here. But in H4, you're actually seeing the market retesting this and giving you lots of momentum dodges. Now, the more you go to the next lower time from, let's say H1, let's drop down more to H1, you'll observe it even better, right? Are you seeing this? Now, in H1, you're observing it even better by us having this channel here. Are you getting it? Now, this is a continuation. Those who know about patterns and ranges, this is what we call a continuation. And those who understand phases, this is the first phase. The market goes in the second phase, then has to give you another phase. So here we had a clear breakout and a retest, even giving you more reasons to take your trade, more confidence to take your trade. All together. So this is the first one of the trend line. We have started with those guys who use their trend lines, right? So let's just go back to our daily time frame and go to the the next one, the next level. Those we use slabs, right? So the market has reached here. Are we together? So let's continue playing it and we already see if the market actually retests this area. Now you're seeing there's a break here, right? Let's play again the next day. The market continues down, right? Let's play the next day. The market continues down. But let's go and check this area. Was there a retest? Are you getting it? Because in this same time frame, it's going to be hard for you to spot this retest here, especially if you're doing intraday. If you're doing intraday or scalping, your levels are usually going to be hard if you get a structure from that same time frame and waiting for retest in that same time frame. Sometimes you're going to wait forever, right? Actually, not sometimes, but most times. So let's just go back to our rules. Let's go back to the next lower time frame and we observe. Let's go to H4, right? Now, when you come back to H4, right? When we come back to H4 here, this is the level that we have here, right? This level here. So I want you to observe this candle. Let me just show you over here. I think this candle coming back to retest this area here, right? This tail here. Now, someone might say, but this is just one candle. Now, if you go drop down to the next lower time frame, it will be more clear. The most common used one is H1, right? Now, let's observe. Remember, we say the retest must be weaker than the candles that we used to break, right? Now let's observe how this market retested. We did have 1, 2, 3, 4, but look at the retest here. The retest gave us 2 candles and sellers overpowered. This is what I'm trying to show you. We had 1, 2, 3, 4 sell candles. Then we have 2 buyers coming to retest this area here, right? Of course, the more you drop to lower time frames, adjust the levels because this turning point sometimes may make you miss out on entries. Then what happens? A seller overpowers all these buyers. This is trying to show you that sellers are stronger in the market. And what happens? The market continues down. Now, if you're waiting for a retest in daily, like what most of you are like waiting for, it can be daily. I'm just using daily, but you can use any time frame that you've been using to do your analysis. For example, here, some of you will be waiting for a retest here and it will not come. Are we together? So I hope this video has really helped you on that to address that issue. In case you've been struggling with it, make sure you give us a thumbs up. And also, if you knew about, just give us a thumbs up so that many people who we know are struggling about this issue or are struggling with this issue can come across this. Also, if it was your first time coming across any of our videos, particularly this one, make sure you hit the subscribe button. That red button, yes, that you're looking at. I know you're looking at it. That one, you want subscribe. Click on it. Any video we do produce and release such videos weekly so that it can help you in your trading. That is it.